High up on a craggy cliff, a speckled egg lay nestled in a nest of twigs and feathers. This was no ordinary egg. This was Eddie the eagle's egg, and his parents, Edwina and Edgar, had big dreams for him. "Our Eddie will be the king of the skies," Edgar would declare, puffing up his chest. Edwina would gently remind him, "He needs to hatch first, dear." Finally, the day arrived. The egg trembled, and with a mighty crack, out popped Eddie. He was a scrawny thing, covered in fluffy down, and his attempts to look majestic like his father were utterly ruined by the fact that he resembled a feathery potato. Undeterred, his parents set about teaching him the ways of the eagles. Edgar was a firm believer in tough love. "Look at me, Eddie!" he would screech, soaring effortlessly on the wind currents. "Fly like this, be bold!" But Eddie's attempts at boldness usually ended with an undignified tumble into the undergrowth. Edwina, always the gentler parent, would swoop down and nudge him back onto the branch. "Patience, my love," she'd coo. "You'll get there." Flying, Eddie soon discovered, was hard work. His wings felt like two left feet, and the ground had a nasty habit of rushing up to meet him when he least expected it. There was that unfortunate incident with the sheep, which he mistook for a fluffy cloud, and the time he got stuck upside down in a tree, his legs waving helplessly in the air. One day, Eddie decided he'd had enough. He perched on the edge of the nest, his tiny chest puffed out in defiance. "I don't want to be king of the skies," he declared. His parents exchanged a surprised look. "But Eddie," began Edgar, "it's in your blood. We're eagles." "Maybe I don't want to be an eagle," Eddie mumbled, his voice small but firm. "Maybe I want to be, a squirrel. They don't have to worry about flying, and they have those bushy tails." Edwina stifled a chuckle. "You're not a squirrel, dear," she said gently, "but it's all right to be afraid." As Eddie grew older, his clumsiness was replaced by a kind of gangly awkwardness. He still hadn't mastered the art of flying with grace, but he could now stay airborne long enough to get himself into all sorts of trouble. He discovered a love for swooping down on unsuspecting rabbits, much to their annoyance, and developed a habit of hanging out with a flock of crows, much to his parents' disapproval. One day, while showing off to his crow friends, Eddie collided mid-air with another young eagle. Feathers flew, and they both tumbled to the ground in a heap. The other eagle, a sleek female with bright, intelligent eyes, shook herself off and glared at Eddie. "Watch where you're going, Featherbrain!" she snapped. Eddie, usually quick with a retort, found himself speechless. There was something about this eagle, with her sharp tongue and even sharper gaze, that intrigued him. She introduced herself as Eliza, and to Eddie's surprise, she didn't seem to mind his clumsy attempts at conversation.